Okay, so we're just gonna soft shade it with Khorne first. I know it only says one shade on the recipe, but I prefer to do a bit of a soft shade and then a line shade. Just to have a bit of a transition there rather than just boom, sort of straight to black and you can also like thin this and create a slight shade between the top bit of his helmet and this I don't even know what you call that section of his ear thing. I don't know. You can see there's a recess there though, so we just water down a little bit of that Khorne red and just glaze it into there. Soft shade's good for places like this as well, where there's not really like an actual recess. And we just want a slight sort of soft shade in here, just to inform that it is in shade, but it doesn't have to be all the way to black. Painting Space Marine Islands is the biggest pain. Yeah, like you either love it or you hate it, I guess. It's one of those things. So you're going around everything pretty much, even around the bits that are gonna be metal. Just a bit of a soft shade in there. I don't know if that shows up. I think it does. What you can also do here, if you're struggling to do like a fine shade, is to just come back out to Khorne red and then back to the base coat. Like, perfectly acceptable. We're gonna go around the eyes now with this mix as well. So we've got a nice bit of shade in between where the lens is and where the red armor begins. It's all about like building contrast here, so black line in between just helps create that definition and contrast. And drop it into these vents as well. Alright, once we've shaded this, the next step is to relayer any areas that are not neat enough with the Mephiston. Okay, so that's our shading pretty much done. Pretty much. So the next stage is to, I'm just going to go around and tidy and neaten everything up with the black now. And the areas that should be black. So black out these little earmuffs. So off we go. Let's get a we just want a solid base coat over the entire islands. But leaving that that bit of shading that we've got in between that. Okay, so we just want to drop a bit of shade into the corners. So just gonna use some pure Kantor to begin with, quite watered down. We want these eyes nice and bright, so okay, so the next stage was Lothan, right? Yeah, I'm not too worried that I'm going over. I need to push that highlight right to the bottom of the eye, so not too worried that I'm going over. Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna push it all the way to the bottom and then come back and tidy it up. The paint's just not coming off the brush. Very frustrating. With Flow Improver on, I'm using a wet palette. It's frustrating because we got the rest of this done to like a high level, and now I'm going to be like messing up all the detail parts. Very annoying, but assembly stream it is, then it might, dude, it might well be at this rate. Like if it starts to heat up any more than this, it's like 29.8 degrees in here now already with my lighting on and stuff. It's just It's just not doable. Like, paint doesn't behave well at that temperature. At least we got the dot in the eye, kind of. Hey, we got the dots in the eye at least. Okay, sod it. I'll take it. I'll take it, guys. Okay, so chunky highlight first stage with Evil Sons. Time are we on? Okay, so we're almost getting there. We've only got 2 stages of highlights to do after this, so. The chest eagle will be fun because the highlights on that need to be super fine. Okay, we're getting there. We've almost got the first chunky highlight done. Okay, so next stage highlight. In fact, there's a few little bits around the back of it that we missed. The next stage is going to be Trollslayer orange. I'm so tempted to use an AK orange, but I won't. Trollslayer is a bit of a pain to get a sharp edge highlight with. It's very like gloopy out of the pot, so. Okay, how are we looking? Not too bad. So this one is where we start to pull out our sharp edge highlights. Trollslayer can be a bit of a pain. Yeah, it's not going too badly. Yeah, I think Trollslayer is the way to go. We'll do the sharper edge with Fire Dragon. these vents, I'm just going to catch the bottom edge of them. That's the bit that would catch the light, so... So last highlight I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of white to this Taulight ochre. I'm just going to use this on like the corners and things. Could really do with that. A bit of more of a highlight down this crescent bit. This should knock the yellow out of it a little bit and just don't know, the highlights always look better when you add a little bit of white after the orange stage. More just how quickly the highlights etc start to pop. Yeah, like once you get the first few stages on it, really, yeah, it does come together quite quickly. Alright, I'm just gonna add a tiny bit more white into that, just for some dot highlights on the corners of things. Like every stage does get quicker after the first. I guess because you're covering less and less area sort of thing, so. It's looking alright. Looking alright. Let's have a look at this next to the yellow. Yeah, it's looking okay. Like we could have pushed the highlights a little bit more in the eye if I wasn't struggling with trying to actually get the paint on the figure. After this, we're going to move on to the chest eagle. So. Okay, that'll do. We're going to get some VMA silver now. Just have a moment to appreciate how good low modeler silver is. wash that in there and let it dry. Okay, so we're gonna reapply the base coat, just relayer it, just to tidy up any areas where I've gone a bit overboard with the shading. So we're being a little bit more precise with this one. We don't want to just go in with a thick, chunky highlight on this because we'll end up with just a pink eagle rather than a rich, purpley red eagle. We want those highlights in there, we want the contrast, but we don't want to just bleach out the colour. So for that reason, the highlights have got to be quite fine. Yeah, we're starting to get somewhere with it. Really, we just got like the final highlight to do on this. So for the final highlight, we're gonna add a little bit of Screaming Skull into it. But you could just use a little bit of white. I think I'm just gonna add a little bit of white to it. So like Ushabti and white. I've already got white. I've already got Ushabti on my palette, so. I guess we want something a bit like this. And quite a lot brighter now. Just a slight pink tinge to it, I guess. Okay, so we're just going to highlight all the way up to white on these edges. Okay, but what I might do is just glaze a little bit of this Ushabti over it. Just in places. And sometimes the writing can look like it's just stood out on top. And just glazing it back a little bit. Can help to make it feel like it's more part of the actual parchment. Alright, yeah, I'm just going to take a little bit of Seraphim Sepia and just glaze this over where we've lost a bit of that shading. Stick in a little bit of shade. I think that's where we'll leave it for today. I'll tell you what I'll do, because I know I've still got the markings to do. I think I'll put up a picture on the Discord once I've done those, but it's pretty straightforward. Make sure you use some Microsoft if you have it.